Hey everybody, welcome back to our Harambe Talk series. Today we have a very exciting show because we're going to be talking to the people that made the movie happen. Now, we're getting to the point where everybody knows that we're about to come out. We'll be out November 1st on Films for Action. Soon after that, back on the Amazon Prime. So we're going to have access for everybody to be able to watch the movie. But what people don't realize is how much work it took to get here. And it really started in 2020. So for all of us, it's been a long journey and we're very excited, very proud. So I'm really excited for you guys to meet those super fun crew that we've had to work with. So we're going to bring everybody in one by one here. First, I would like to bring on Sierra Williams, who is our producer. And Sierra has started fundraising way back in the day. So the fact that the movie even started was with you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And let's see, we're going to bring in Jeremy. Here we are, Jeremy, Mr. Jeremy Small, our DP.
What's going on, guys?
And hey, man, thanks for joining tonight. It's great to have you here.
No
Here we go. And then Nicole Slater, as
Hi.
people may recognize from the movie. And if you think you spotted her in the movie, you did. So it's great to see everybody again together.
Yeah, it was awesome meeting you guys for the first time. I'm so grateful. Back in 2020 during COVID, I was doing a lot of social networking and I saw that you guys were doing the documentary, I believe, and you guys were doing promotions and doing your preemptive thing. And I wanted to tell all my friends and share it along with anybody who would see it. And I just shared everything I could, made post, and you guys sent me a message. And then when we finally met that first time, it was awesome. I am glad to have you guys as my friends.
Now, remind me, is this right? The first day we all met was shooting the candlelight vigil scene, right?
Yes.
That's right.
In person.
There we are. And for people that can't tell right away, Nicole is wearing a shirt that's made from Jeff's photo and meme. And then a little bit more from that day. If you've seen the movie, there's Jeremy. Amazing.
It was raining that day.
Never put the camera down.
The rain just let up when we had the candlelight vigil, but it was pouring down right beforehand.
It was pouring.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that. The whole drive over, it's raining, and we get there, and as soon as we get in front of the zoo, it just beautiful skies. And then remember, there was really funny. It didn't make it into the movie, but there was the group that was running for Harambe that day. We went because we did our vigil on the 28th, the day that Harambe was killed. So now, okay, so let's. I'm just going to do a quick run through of everybody so that the audience gets to know everybody is. And I want to talk a little bit about your relationship with the movie. So Jeremy and I go back years and years and years. We were both at TMZ at the same time. And
different times. We were both at LAX at the same time.
That's true. We were we?
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
were at a
That's
different
right.
agency when I met you.
Oh, I had already moved on.
Yeah, a lot different from. It was great to be a part of a project that wasn't putting celebrities in captivity, but instead showing a greater appreciation for the natural habitat.
It's great. And we were just saying earlier, you look like your background, it makes you look like you're in an exhibit. So you're in the Humane Aquarium tonight.
Oh, yeah. Need a little blur.
And now Sierra and I met when I was working on Phosphate, my first documentary. Sierra stepped in and started handling a lot of the social media, a lot of the promotion, and a lot of the in-between strategy on how for us to reach the audience. So when Harambe came up, we started talking about it, and it was just a natural for us to work together and to start to do the fundraising. So Sierra, I was curious, like, what do you remember most about maybe as we were planning it, or what's it like to see it go from maybe we can make this movie happen to seeing it actually come out?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing to be a part of this movie from the beginning. It was really amazing to be able to work on this project with everybody. We started from the very beginning, just put up a page about the movie, and we started fundraising on Indiegogo. And we were just trying to look for anybody and everybody who would like to get involved and help us put this project together. And that's when I met Nicole. I saw her online and her post. It was really easy to see like how passionate she was about Harambe, and she had a special connection with him. And I thought that was really amazing. And I wanted to connect with her and learn more about her and her why she loved Harambe so much. And it was really amazing meeting her, by the way, Nicole.
It was good to meet you.
So yeah, we worked really hard to try to raise funds for the movie. We didn't quite get as much as we were aiming for. I think we were looking at something like 50,000 or something. It was a really high number. We ended up raising a couple thousand, which was an amazing start to getting this project off the ground. And yeah, it was tough. Fundraising is tough. I will say that for sure.
That's right. We were very happy, with what we were able to get in, and we all met, I want to say, a day or two before Harambe's birthday, which I want to mention to everybody is Nicole and Harambe share a birthday. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about that. And Nicole, why is Harambe so important to you, and why did you really want to get involved?
Yeah, so Harambe is important to me because we are birthday twins, and I was celebrating our birthday at the zoo the day before he died, and I just kept thinking about what if I went the day after, but it didn't matter. But yeah, we shared a birthday, and I found out when he moved to the Cincinnati Zoo that we shared the birthday in 2015. And so I shared the 2 birthdays with him.
We're like, wow, I know that you spent time there with Harambe, and I know that since you've been continuing your path to work in animal conservation. And, so it was a real honor to have you on our crew, because everybody on the crew and everybody that you're meeting tonight really has been working on this for about 3 years. And I would say every day we're all trying to figure out how to get the movie to go forward and how to get the movie to as many different people as possible. And I think one thing that we all really enjoyed was meeting this guy, Mr. Jeff McCurry. Nobody quite like him. And I've got a couple pictures from set that I wanted to show everybody. And there's Jeremy, never getting to sit down and never getting to put the camera down. You're like made out of steel, man. I was super impressed.
Heavy camera too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, for any other filmmakers out there, we shot this on a C300, and as you'll see in the next one, we also had a good DSLR running. Was that 5D?
Yeah, that was Mark III.
Okay, yes, there we go. Mark III, there we go. So beautiful camera, great images, and you get a little bit of a sense of what it was like back there in the room where we shot the majority of the interviews. And Jeremy was never given much time to rest. There he is shooting the scene about Jeff's accident. So what, you spent a lot of time, there you are again, with Jeff in your lens and in your sights. There we go. And there's me pretending like I'm being useful in the background, but I'm just trying not to touch anything and not mess anything up. So Jeremy, as you were shooting.
Oh, I mean, on the experience, I just keep thinking about the cicadas and how it fell on the one like or 2 weeks where the cicadas were making a lot of noises. But Jeff was great. I mean, just great subject, and as like a somewhat of a photographer too, it's just like I was just intrigued by his craft and just kind of his like laissez-faire, how he kind of like fell into the field of photography, similar to like myself. But he really, like, you could tell besides like sports photography, he really just loved nature photography. Like, a certain passion that you can't really they can't teach you that at school. And he had that.
Absolutely. Jeff is an amazing photographer. If you haven't seen his work, you should check it out. And every photo I see of Jeff's, I'm just in awe of. He's an incredible nature photographer.
I always think, gosh, it'd be amazing if he were able to have met Harambe in the wild. And Harambe could have totally been himself. And what sort of things Jeff could get, because he has this intimacy with his subjects that really clearly defines that there's always something and about a shot that you can't really fully define or distinguish. And people don't realize about Jeff is that although his picture's been shared over 25 billion times, he's never made a penny on them. Jeff always told us that he had a motto, which is it's free for the people, but not for the companies. So if a company wants to use it to make an exploit, they need to pay. Anybody that wants to use it, he's all about the free image and sharing it. And that's how it became such a huge meme. So it's really interesting. But I was going to ask about memes. I wanted to ask you about that.
Oh, well, first I wanted to say how amazing it was that because of the zoo being just like short-sighted and wanting to save a buck, they told Jeff that, well, we're not going to, you're volunteering, but you own the copyright for every picture you take at the zoo. Yeah. And they definitely kicked themselves for that, obviously hindsight. The memes, I mean, that was like, it was such a piece of meme culture. And there were memes before one that happened in 2016, but it really just hit the zeitgeist and it stuck around. I mean, you still see memes every time another celebrity dies. There's Harambe in heaven joined by all the other, and it's the memes are definitely like a form of the newest form of just communication, how we talk to each other, how we share ideas, share a joke,
It's really interesting to see how Harambe can touch a vast array of topics. He can just, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Oh, and I think Eric, the first time Jeff made any money from Harambe photos was that NFT in 2021, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, that would have been around May 28th, I believe, 2021. I think it was on the day he was.
No, I think it was on my birthday. It was on June 3rd, 2020.
Oh, it was on June 3rd that they did the NFT.
Well, the auction went live on the 5th anniversary, but it ended on June.
What was it?
That's right.
Gotcha.
It was right. We started a bid, then it started for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yes, and I remember. That's right. You gave up your birthday to be with us that day, and I remember how we celebrated.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
There's no Waffle Houses in LA, so.
Yeah. We had an abundance where we were shooting.
Yeah, it was great to celebrate your with you.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah.
And then we decided to go to the zoo because we wanted to take Jeff back to the zoo and get a sense of what it was like there. So I'm just curious for everybody, tell us a little bit about what the zoo was like for you before that trip and what it's like for you after that trip and why that trip had an impact.
Well, I'd like to say that I never really had a background in conservation, and really before this project, I was probably among the zoo-going public, but just by learning more and just seeing just like the ugly side of captivity, I would never go to a zoo again unless it was for a grassroots project that the zoo doesn't really. But going to the zoo with Jeff, especially, I could see the difference in the juxtaposition of the photos he was taking, and he took some great photos, but you could feel just how sad Ndume and some of the other gorillas on exhibit were, and just the enclosure, it was just it was very depressing. It was more like shooting Locked Up or something a prison show than shooting at a zoo. Although, as we see, it's kind of one and the same.
Right.
Yeah, I remember there being a new enclosure there at the Cincinnati Zoo, and it was really interesting to see the sort of recreation of what is supposed to be their natural habitat, but is
A
really
blanket.
Yeah, and a lot of what seemed to look like plastic or just fake enclosures. It was really sad to see them laying around, just kind of looking, staring into the wall, bored, really just not engaged, not a gorilla, not the gorillas you see on the documentaries or the, a BBC or any of these other wildlife movies that we've seen. It's nothing like that there. And, for me, I didn't think twice about the zoo before making this movie. I didn't think anything different than it was a fun day at the zoo with the kids. And I thought it would be educational and it would make the kids happy. And after making the movie, it really changed my perspective.
I think for me, it was hard to go back to the zoo and just to remember how Harambe used to once live there. And then with the new enclosure, with Numi just laying on the blanket where like that's a nest that they made or something, but it's not their natural nest that they make in the wild. It's a cloth blanket that was handed to them and they just lay on it like it's normal to rest on, and it's not. I'll always also remember going to the zoo and me and Eric were standing over next to the elephants and we were watching them sway doing their board dance that they do. Sad day to go to the zoo.
It really illustrates this weird dynamic that's there. And we go inside to the new exhibit. You can see the grate where the kid had just barely missed it and been pulled around. And you can really see it, and it's way at the other end. And it gives you an amazing perspective of, the door and the indoor exhibit's way over here. And on the literal opposite side is where the grate is, which means that that's where the kid fell in. So when we were there, we got a really big sense that, Harambe didn't just pick the kid up and walk 3 steps and then, he was shot and it was over. This was literally on the other side of the exhibit and down a level. So he found the child down there, pulled him around, got all the way over to the ropes, climbed up the 13-foot wall with the kid holding him, which, it's always amazing to me. That part of the story is not on camera and it's never really been,
shared.
But he gives him, that kind of credit, and then in the movie, we can prove now for the very first time that Harambe was at the exhibit door waiting for the zookeeper when he was killed. And it makes the story all the more tragic, but it also is a cautionary tale of, in the future, zoos saying, well, we had no choice. We had no choice.
Public sentiment has definitely changed, and it's still, although zoos are still very profitable, they are starting to see some profit margin lost, and I'm wondering what their next move is, because in a capitalist society, you don't take losing very easily. You just it's all about infinite growth. So my question is, what are they going to do next to because the public is buying less tickets and hopefully will buy less and less as the future goes on. But I don't know if it's over yet, because it's the zoos are very powerful. It's a big business. They're going to try and come up with something to keep ticket sales moving.
Sure.
It's interesting you talk about that, because the zoos very often are tied into the city's PR campaigns. When we were just there last time for the premiere in Cincinnati, Sierra and I saw Cincinnati Zoo, little, display cards at the hotel with, I think Fritz, the new hippo or whatever on there,
Fiona,
saying, come to the zoo, it was incredible. So it really is and I think that's one of the biggest challenges is combating a giant economic driver with sort of a request from the heart about doing the right thing and somehow finding those two together, and we talked a lot about what could be the possibilities for the future of the zoos.
The entire world is under threat. There's not one place on Earth that isn't affected by multiple facets of problems between climate change, environmental destruction. We have more endangered species all the time that we're not even aware of. And so, it's really the question of these endangered species, where should they be? Should they be in a zoo in Ohio, or should they be in Africa? I know it's a messy situation and it's not easy and all the answers aren't there yet, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And as far as how zoos could, sorry, I didn't catch my breath.
Yeah,
as far as zoos being able to change over into a new paradigm, into possibly a new business model, could be to become world-class facilities for wildlife rehabilitation in that particular area. And sure, they can support conservation from afar because apparently they're already doing some of that. It'd be great to have more of that out there. But also, what about the local spaces? Those also need a lot of help. And another thing is, why isn't the public educated on wildlife in their area? What if you come across an injured animal? What do you do? Most people don't know how to answer that question. And it's unfortunate that a lot of those wildlife won't be helped because of that. And we need to look at that and find a different way to help the animals. I think zoos could also go as far as to educate the public on what to do and how to best help animals. And I think everybody should know who to call if they were to come across wildlife that did need help.
We're really hoping that the movie has a forward effect and really starts to challenge people that love the zoo and people that don't like the zoo into, well, what's our next solution? Because it's very challenging. Like sanctuaries as they run right now are not the answer. They're better, but they're not, exactly what we need. So we're still, I think, looking now. Nicole, that's what I wanted to ask you as well. Nicole has been to Africa, has seen firsthand the challenges that countries face. And Nicole, we're over here talking about endangered species inside of captivity. Why don't you tell us about your experience and what you think we need to help these other animals that are still in the wild?
Well, yes, there are animals in the wild that need our help just by, being kind to their communities and remembering that it starts with the communities and making sure that they admire them and they want to help keep them safe as well. So in order to do that, conservationists really work on helping the communities to help the nature, and because, we are nature, and if we don't all help each other, it doesn't work. And so if one community wants to poach for money, then the gorillas living next to them or any wildlife living next to them, they're not going to thrive with the threats that they're facing with their neighbors. So I learned a lot about, wildlife management and managing between wildlife species and against humans. And it was a really great experience. And yeah.
So do you think, having that kind of experience, you bring up a great point, and this is the thing, we've been getting this a lot on our posts. People, like I said, either think, okay, well, it's safer because they're in captivity. In the wild, they're going to get poached or they're going to be killed because of human encroachment, human activity, oil and gas exploration. There's so many. There's magic, right, where they'll chop off like the gorilla's hands to be used in magical ceremonies. There's a lot of those kinds of things. So, it brings up the great point that we need to start having brand new conversations that are going to start leading to new options and new ideas on how to keep them in the wild. Because as of now, the answer is just not there.
I mean, I'm hoping the movie sheds a light on how cruel captivity can be, and these animals, they never had a choice on where they were born, where they were raised, and I get it. And for the most part, I just hope people reconsider purchasing into buying tickets to go to a zoo or a zoo attraction, and I hope it starts a conversation. And what else can we do that will be better for all the species involved?
I hope that people, after seeing the movie, will recognize or second think about if they're actually, witnessing the animal that they're looking at, because they're not. And is it really worth it to go there and stand in front of them for 30 minutes or 30 seconds, not minutes? To look at them for 30 seconds just to walk off to the next animal while they have to sit there their entire lives and not move on.
Well, I hope that the movie is sort of a calling card for Harambe and what his name means. I really believe that Harambe's legacy and spirit deserves more than what is already out there right now. I think that we really need to think about his name, and I think it was kind of like divine luck, or however you want to describe it in your terms. But his name is so important and what it means. And I think everybody who cares about gorillas and endangered species should really contemplate his name, and that it means coming together around a person, and in this case, an issue, gorilla conservation. And how can we come together and help the gorillas? That's really what we need to do, and I hope Harambe teaches people that.
Yeah, and it's been a challenge. Like we've been reaching out to the zoo a lot, asking them to join us in conversations, asking them to discuss these topics, and so far, most people that are within the zoological world won't even consider talking to us. They've kind of closed off from us, and we find that a big shame. And we don't know why they're acting so defensive. If they don't believe what we see and what we believe, then they should stand up and explain it to us and help us understand their perspective, so that then they can understand our perspective a little bit more. We've had a lot of them already not like the movie without having seen it. So we have a very big uphill battle. But that's the beauty of doing these more broad stroke kind of stories, where we can really look at major issues that are happening and talk about changing them. They're not small things that can be changed tomorrow, but major issues that we need to save. We need to fix for our kids, their kids, and their kids and their kids. People say, think 7 generations ahead. Will we even have wild gorillas in 7 generations? So there's a lot to think about from the movie. But I wanted to thank everybody. Well, since we're going to be editing it real fast, before I kind of do a quick wrap up, was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about or say before we wrapped up?
Just that I hope that the movie creates.
Oh, wait, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Really hope that the movie creates a conversation around gorilla conservation, and we can find a way forward. That's it. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to put that in there.
I'm happy that the more mainstream sentiment has been swaying towards the side of what is best for the animals and just an anti-captivity, and just I'm glad to see that sentiment has started to turn, and I hope that our movie will continue that conversation, and I hope more people will start talking as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Me too. Well, Thank you guys for being part of the movie. Thank you for believing in the movie, believing in the topic, believing in the story, and dedicating so much time, so much passion, and so much love to the project. I can't wait for everybody to watch it. November 1st, Films for Action. And then send us a message. Let us know what you think, because we're all here to reach out, to talk to everybody, to get this conversation up and running. So thanks again, everybody, for joining.
Thanks for having us here.